Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., you're listening to Impact Showdown with your host, Lee Sanders.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? This is the one and only, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and you're listening to the Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown Radio, live on Blog Talk Radio and over at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. We got a little bit of mystery surrounding the one Bully Ray, as we just saw. Impact Wrestling go off. It's the final installment, as now the path to the TNA Hardcore Justice pay-per-view is on, as we're now 72 hours away from the event. We'll definitely get those of you who were not able to see Impact Wrestling tonight caught up on everything that has transpired. We'll also get those of you a little bit of a preview of what you can expect this weekend, as for sure we'll be covering the TNA Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. More on that in just a little bit, folks. Do hope everybody has been having a good week so far. Friday is upon us. Hope you got those weekend plans ready. Thank you all so much for checking out tonight's show on August 9th, 2012, just 1 minute after 10 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. You can always hit us up on Twitter at InfinityOneProd, and you can hit us up on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. Hit us up throughout the course of tonight's show, as we love interacting with you wrestling fans. Also, something new that we just launched earlier this week, we're now on Tout. That's right. We have set up Tout so that we can hear from you, the wrestling fans, and it's really going to be pretty cool, I feel, as coming up this Saturday, we're going to be doing another installment of our Call That Match series. We'll definitely give you more of a heads up about that and how you can be able to participate in that. You definitely want to stick around for that. That's going to be really cool. You can also feel free to hit us up on YouTube. We love hearing from you guys as well. I think we're starting to find our niche with regards to how we've been doing the shows as of late, as thank you, the listeners, for quickly making this past Tuesday night's episode of the RCWR show our most listened to, downloaded show for this month. I mean, how do we follow up a very strong month in July? Well, you all showed that love for this past Tuesday nights. And for those of you that were not able to check out our RCWR show this past Tuesday, definitely want to go backtrack when you get a free chance and check that episode out, as it was a hell of a great episode. It was a deluxe edition that we did, covered the fallout from WWE Raw, also talked about what had happened with Kamala, Dawn Marie. It was a really great in-depth look, probably one of our best shows to date, that just kind of had me saying to myself, as I did listen to it, as well as several other people, how can you top that? Well, we're not going to try to top that, but we'll try to do the next best thing and just keep the momentum going. But definitely check that episode out when you get a chance. You know, we must have pissed off a couple of people with that piece that we did, because, true story, for those of you that might have not seen that episode's show page info, we had pissed off some weird psycho guy that had put this ridiculous comment on our show page talking about how he was going to file a lawsuit or some weird, crazy crap, and it just was really mind-boggling because me and the staff were looking at these comments, and he actually said he'll kill us. So we were like, what the hell has this guy been eating or smoking? So we had flagged him to the attention of the Blog Talk Radio staff. Major shout-out to the Blog Talk Radio staff, by the way, who were very prompt in their reply to us when we had told them about this guy. And it turns out this guy who has no life apparently, who also probably doesn't like wrestling and a bunch of other shows, has actually been going around just randomly pulling the aces and eights, if you will, talking all kinds of crazy stuff. And they had said, oh, just ignore that psycho. He's not really up to any good. A lot of people ignore him. It's like, gee, you think it might be a little time to maybe report his IP address? I don't know. Considering what we just saw in Impact Wrestling tonight, I'm kind of under the impression the way this guy's coming off, maybe he might be in cahoots with the aces and eights. Who knows? But I might be jumping out there just a little bit too much, folks, but that's a different story. But, yeah, check that episode out when you guys get a free moment. All right, so let's jump right into TNA Impact Wrestling. We saw for what seems like within a couple of weeks now, we saw a pretty damn good, strong episode going into the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. They kind of downplayed the whole Claire Lynch angle a little bit, and I was really liking that. But at the same time, I didn't like the fact that we had got so much camera time of her making her silly little faces as we're watching AJ Styles have another classic match with the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. You know that was a 5-star quality match right there. We'll definitely go into more detail about that match. And also, we have some very interesting news about Claire Lynch. That's right. We were just kicking back and browsing the web, and we actually came across some very interesting things about the woman that you all may know as Claire Lynch. Well, we have her real name, and we know what she has been all about so far. It's what she doesn't want you to know. It's what TNA doesn't want you to know about her. So you definitely are going to like what we have to say about her later on in the show. So let's get you guys caught up on what all had happened with Impact Wrestling at the top of the hour as we saw Mr. Cavzilla himself, Bully Ray, come out. And I just thought this was a bit interesting, the way the show opened up. I don't know if anybody else was peeping this out, but I don't mean to jump ahead of the gun here, but I just can't help but just get it out there in the open right now. So Impact Wrestling opens up with Bully Ray, and Impact Wrestling ends with Bully Ray. And I know some of you guys are kind of saying, but wait a minute, we're going into the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. Shouldn't the spotlight had kind of been on the TNA champion maybe? Well, yeah, I kind of agree with that. You know, you would kind of suspect that it wouldn't end on a Bully Ray note, but just very interesting how this all had played out. Let's get you caught up at the top of the hour here. We saw Bully Ray come out, and he is pushing his Twitter as usual as he sends out the following tweet. And there was a little bit of a delay there for some folks because some people were under the impression he really did not send out a tweet. You just had to wait a little bit for it to kick in. The following tweet would read, and I quote, "Leader of the Bully Nation, walking, talking, and trending worldwide, live and in color on my fire-breathing hashtag Twitter machine." So we see Bully Ray come out here, and he points to a bunch of facts that actually go unnamed why he feels James Storm is behind the aces and eights, and promises how he's going to pick up 7 points from him and win at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. Well, we would see James Storm come out, and he tells Bully Ray how sick and tired he is of always defending himself, of not being behind, aces and eights, and that is just getting to the point right now where he's just sick and tired of just being sick and tired. And we would see James Storm tell Bully Ray, hey, look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to draw this line out right here, and this message goes to you, and this message goes to anybody else in the back. Feel free to step over this line, and let's just get it on, because I'm getting sick and tired of talking. That was pretty much James Storm's mentality at this point. James Storm, he's just ready to fight. We would see Bully Ray. He is just sizing up the Cowboy all up and down, and he is thinking about it. He is thinking about getting it on with the Cowboy, but we see him go on ahead, and he backs away. Now, the next event that happens proved to be a definite eyebrow raiser, as we see on the little Titantron there, we see aces and eights who are all drinking beers, playing cards at a table, it looks like, as we see one of the guys whose voice was just really off the chain. I was really enjoying this guy's voice. For a guy's voice who was obviously, it was distorted, I was really enjoying this voice. It had me sitting up saying to myself, maybe this is the voice that should have belonged to Tom, I can't think of the guy's name right now, the guy that portrays Bane in the new Dark Knight Rises movie. It just had me saying to myself, this is the voice that should have been applied to Bane for the movie, because I don't know about you guys, I was having a hard time stomaching a Sean Connery voice. Oh, Batman! I was kind of not really feeling that. This voice was definitely on point. It was commanding, sounded kind of sinister. I was loving it. Great voice right here. Great work with the backstage equipment, TNA. Well, we would hear Aces and Eights reveal how Sting has extended an invitation to them to appear on the show tonight. And they give the Icon a lot of props. They say, Sting, you have a lot of balls. We're definitely going to be taking you up on your offer, but it's going to be on our time, and it's going to be on our terms. So it is set for tonight. As soon after we see Bully Ray, who is yelling at James Storm, prove to him now that he is not the one behind Aces and Eights, as James Storm just continued to stand there and not really give any type of explanation as far as what we all had just saw. From there, folks, we would see in-ring action-wise, RVD defeat Magnus. Was a little bit sad with this match, as we saw RVD pretty much squash Magnus. This was a match where Magnus, he really needed to gain some type of momentum right here, but he just was not able to. If I'm not mistaken, this was a Bound for Glory series match, so we had saw RVD pick up 7 points right here. Backstage segment, we would go now where we see Robert Roode, who is reacting to the contract signing that he is supposed to have with the TNA champion Austin Aries later tonight, but will point out that him and his lawyers have discovered a little bit of a problem with the contract, and as a result of that, there possibly may not be a main event match tonight. A main event at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. Could it possibly be in jeopardy? We would find out in just a little bit, folks, but if for now it looks as if the main event at Hardcore Justice is in jeopardy. We would also see Kazarian and Daniels team up to defeat Devon and Garrett Bischoff. Now, I just have a little bone to pick right here, and if you've been listening to Impact Showdown Radio within recent weeks, you all are very well aware of how critical I have been of that television title being defended every single week, and so far we have not seen Devon defend this title. Now, as I pointed out on an episode of Impact Showdown Radio last week, I said if Devon continues to quietly not defend that title and just keep retaining it, he's going to be making a little bit of history of his own. Now, as I speak, Devon has surpassed, I believe it was Booker T that he surpassed as far as longest reigning TV champion. So he now holds that number 3 spot, and the guy isn't even defending the title. So I'm a little frustrated right here just seeing this, because if you're going to have Devon wrestle, then why not have him defend the title? Why do you have Devon, your TV champion, who already has a belt, why do you have him in a tag match tonight? It just really made no sense whatsoever. And on the one hand, I can appreciate them doing a job to Kazarian and Daniels, who, honestly, I forgot were the TNA tag champions, because they really haven't been defending the titles since they had won it a couple of weeks back. So, it's really confusing right here when you really think about it, because you're so into what's being forced upon your eyes when you see the Kazarian, Daniels, AJ Styles, Claire Lynch storyline. You forget they're champions, right? It's okay if you forget they're champions, because TNA, they're not really making it be their business to remind you that they're tag team champions. Just really weird how they had played this out right here. I really would have just preferred settling for Devon defending his title. It should have been against either Kazarian or Daniels, and they could have set it up so that Garrett was in the corner of Devon rooting him on, and we could have seen Kazarian, Daniels, whichever one of them would have been facing Devon. The other one would have just been rooting him on, and maybe we could have seen a little bit of interference from the side of Daniels, Kazarian, to try to help Devon pick up the win. That just would have made a little bit more sense to me, I feel. That way you have all the bases covered. We would also see a recap of Sting's conversation with Brooke Hogan about the status of the immortal Hulk Hogan, who continues to be out of action right now. We see that so blend perfectly into a backstage segment where Sting is talking about how, for Brooke's safety, he has made sure that she is not on tonight's show. The Icon also talks about how last week he called out aces and eights, but they didn't come out. Tonight he plans on calling them out again. Now, for those of you that had the fortunate pleasure of checking out TNA's Backstage Pass in between commercial breaks, y'all definitely saw some really cool stuff throughout the night, as at one point you saw Jeremy Borash interview the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Austin Aries, getting his reaction to what all had happened with Robert Roode, talking about there being a problem with his contract for the main event at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. Austin Aries, he's not really tripping over it. He feels that when it's all said and done, whatever type of problems Robert Roode might be having, there's still going to be a main event match for the TNA title this Sunday. He's not really sweating it. Some really cool stuff right there. Now, we would see Robbie E., Mr. Fist pumping in the air, confirming everyone's thoughts about him possibly not winning the Bound for Glory series. Well, Robbie E. would sit up, and he almost had a new Subway commercial going on there for a minute, because he sat up and just kept talking about how he has 5 points. 5 points. I was ready to hear $5 foot long somewhere in between there, as many times as he kept saying 5. And he would also point out how he picked up those 5 points from one Jeff Hardy, as he would point out how just 3 weeks ago he was in a match with Jeff Hardy, and it had ended in a count-out, and this was courtesy of Big Rob getting involved into the mix, and that's the only reason why Lil Robbie even has anything right now. Well, we would see the charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy come out. Seems like Jeff has been very quiet within recent weeks, within recent months. I don't know if it's just me, but it just really seems like he's just been kind of off the radar there as of late. I almost forgot he was on the roster there. That's how much on the download they've been kind of keeping him quiet within recent weeks. But we would see him come out, and he would try to get in the ring and throw it down with Little Robbie, but first he had to get past Big Rob, and he took him out with ease, finally going up to Little Robbie, beat him down a little bit, but we would see Big Rob get back on the offense and attack Jeff Hardy from behind. And so convenient it was to see a propped-up table in the ring as Big Rob would send Hardy crashing through that table. Might this be a taste of things to come at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view? As far as Robbie E is concerned, he might have 5 points right now, but he's going to be quickly back in the Bound for Glory series when he defeats everybody else to pick up 20 points. Well, Robbie E, a little cocky right there. Nothing wrong with being cocky, being arrogant, but when you have the other individuals that are going to be participating in that tables match, the odds of you winning, well, doesn't really look too good in your favor, especially with your 5 points. And for those of you that have not been keeping track of the Bound for Glory series leaderboard stats, we'll definitely get you guys hooked up on that as we have the newest up-to-date leaderboard status. Let's continue now as we see backstage cameras have caught up with AJ Styles as he points out how he doesn't drink and that, most importantly, he would remember if he had bad sex with someone. Meantime, he's more focused on his match against Kurt Angle coming up later tonight. Now, let's just pause right here, and I made sure I definitely heard this right. I actually rewinded it. So I'm feeling AJ Styles on the part about he doesn't drink. So AJ's already alluding to the fact that he believes he was drugged. Okay, that's fine. But AJ, quick question, man. How do you know the sex with Claire Lynch was bad? Maybe you kind of told a little truth there, AJ. Maybe you did kind of, as that Isley Brothers song goes, maybe you did kind of do a little something between the sheets there, man. I mean, let's be for real now. I mean, anybody would remember if they had bad sex with somebody. Poor choice of words right there. I think what AJ was trying to say was, hey, I don't drink, so I definitely would have remembered if I had sex with somebody. Something just smells very foul about this is what all he should have said rather than the whole bad sex with someone. I could see the execution that was supposed to be attempted, but it wasn't delivered. Hopefully they can get that cleaned up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to touch this up this Sunday at the pay-per-view. Well, we would see Samoa Joe soon make an appearance. Now, he didn't have in-ring action tonight, but he would make his presence felt as he would interrupt Mike Tenay and Taz at commentating and mention how he's pretty much been on top of the leaderboards within recent weeks and how he plans on destroying everything in his path, as this weekend at Hardcore Justice, he plans on being in that zone and picking up those extra 20 points to really be standing tall in the leaderboard stats. As from there, folks, we got our third match of the night. Kurt Angle taking on AJ Styles, and we had Miss Claire Lynch at ringside. Totally different Claire Lynch from what we have seen within recent weeks, folks, as this Claire Lynch, man, where do I even begin? It just seemed as if Claire Lynch was a completely different person tonight. Claire Lynch was very happy. She was rooting on AJ Styles, saying, "Go, baby, go," and just really AJ's personal cheerleader. And we saw AJ, Kurt Angle, once again, they had one fantastic match. You know, guys, come on, those of you that have been watching AJ Styles and Kurt Angle get it on all these years, you know those guys, they know how to put on a fantastic 5-star quality type of match. And even though this was happening on cable television, they did not care. They were still throwing it down. I was definitely loving this match right here, folks. Of course, we kept seeing shots of Claire Lynch, who's just rooting on AJ. I wanted there to be no more facial shots of Claire Lynch. I was tired of looking at her from the minute they showed the first shot of her looking all happy. But nonetheless, great match right here. We didn't see Kazarian. We didn't see Daniels come down, try to have a hand in this match, which I thought was a little bit surprising, actually, because it just seemed like any other time AJ Styles is having a match, just seems like Kazarian and Daniels, they aren't really not too far behind. So very surprised that they didn't have a say in this match, but damn good match nonetheless. We would see Kurt Angle defeat AJ Styles and pick up a hard-fought, well-deserved 7 points. Post-match is where it got funny. We saw Claire Lynch grabbing on the shoulder of AJ saying, "Oh, it's okay, baby. It's okay. You did good. You still did good tonight." And we just see AJ kind of looking at her like, "Who the hell are you? Why are you touching me?" And AJ just walks away. He walks up to the backstage area, and we just see Claire Lynch, whatever happiness she had, I mean, she just pulled a bipolar moment and was just looking evil as I don't know what, wondering why AJ was not acknowledging her. Very eerie what's happening right here, folks, but it is what it is. I'm surprised security keeps letting this woman in the building. You would think that by now she would get denied access. I'm not sure what the hell that's all about. Anyway, folks, we see another video package that's released by Aces and Eights as they mention how so far they've dealt the dead man's hand to Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Austin Aries, Robert Roode, Sting, Hulk Hogan. They even sent a little something to baby Brooke Hogan. Well, now they're ready to give the dead man's hands to their next victim tonight, as someone will be dealt another hand. Who could it possibly be? Well, backstage segment, we will quickly go now where we see Mr. Anderson, who just happened to, that fast, seen the Aces and Eights clip. I just thought that was a little bit too fast. I don't know if you guys were kind of peeping it out, but as soon as they got done concluding that video piece, we immediately see Mr. Anderson just walk up to James Storm to comment about it. I think what would have been a perfect segue would have been to see the Aces and Eights video that was shown to us, the viewers at home, but then the transition should have been a 5-10 second delay in the backstage segment where we see Mr. Anderson is looking on at what the Aces and Eights are saying on a television monitor, and then he could have walked away and bumped into James Storm. That would have made a little bit more perfect sense. It just seemed a little too scripted right there. It was a poor segue is what I'm saying. But in either case, we would see Mr. Anderson say to James Storm, "Hey, I think it's funny how every single time the Aces and Eights come out, somehow, James Storm, you're able to benefit from it." And Anderson would also let Storm know that if the Aces and Eights just so happen to make him be the next target, he's definitely going to be having a different conversation with Storm, unlike the one they're having right there on the spot. Fourth match of the evening, we saw Knockouts action as the beautiful Miss Tessmacher took on Gail Kim. Tessmacher. Love Miss Tessmacher right here. Miss Tessmacher, she defeated Gail Kim to continue to look strong and dominating going into the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. But wait! We saw Madison Rayne come out and she give a crucial lip lock to referee Earl Hebner, sending a very powerful message to Miss Tessmacher that, hey, if Earl Hebner is the referee, you better watch out. That was the message that was definitely felt in my eyes, as I'm sure it was felt throughout a lot of people's eyes that were watching this development tonight. If, and it's a big if, and I think it's safe to say it's definitely going to happen, if Earl Hebner is the referee to call this match between Madison Rayne and Miss Tessmacher, might Miss Tessmacher's title reign be in jeopardy? Well, you're definitely going to want to find out this Saturday when we do that Call That Match special covering the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, folks. Another backstage segment we see now where we get reaction from Joseph Park, who is shedding light on the contract signing between Austin Aries and Robert Roode, as he feels that this is a form of arbitration and that it is something that he tried to warn Sting about last week when he spoke with him, so that this type of problem could be avoided, but he quickly interrupts himself to go speak to a potential new client. Of course, in another backstage pass segment, we had got to see Jeremy Borash get reaction from Earl Hebner about his lip lock with Madison Rayne, and also talk about his relationship with her. It was some pretty decent stuff right there. Definitely recommend that y'all check that backstage pass out in between. You know, they're now up on Twitter airing it, so they really have made it quite easy for you to check it out. You can check it out at ImpactWrestlingChat.com. You can also check them out on their YouTube channel over on TNA Wrestling, and you can check it out on Twitter. So 3 different ways you can be a part of the Backstage Pass. And they continue to show those who join the chat room on ImpactWrestlingChat.com a lot of love. They will just single-handedly just pick out random people and give shout-outs to. You would kind of think that the chat room would be pretty large, that there would be a ton of people in there. Surprisingly, from the few times I have stuck my head in there, there's not really too many people in there. I would say average weekly, it's probably about maybe 50 people that might be in that chat room. So very easy for you to get noticed, especially if you're always interacting in there or you have a unique name. Supposedly a lot of people were under the impression that maybe Daniel Bryan was interacting with TNA fans in the chat room. There was somebody with a goat face handle tag that was in there, so created a lot of buzz right there. Quite sure whoever this person was, it definitely wasn't Daniel Bryan, but still good way to get some exposure right there. But highly recommend that you check that out. Now we see a Kenny King video package as he's talking about his journey into TNA Wrestling so far. And I really thought that this was a really cool piece right here because, of course, we had Kenny King, who had that unfortunate release from Ring of Honor Wrestling, and just kudos to TNA for really just making sure that he continues to have some type of a job, as wrestling is his passion. I just really love how TNA have been doing this guy ever since he first popped up a couple of weeks back. They really have proven, at least in my eyes, that they really are serious about Kenny King, that they definitely want to make a commitment to Kenny King. I definitely feel this was one of the smartest pickups that they did this year when they acquired his talent. I mean, phenomenal freaking athlete this guy is. Of course, it's time for the contract signing as we see Sting come out, and he calls out Austin Aries and he calls out Robert Roode. He also plugs Aces and Eights, telling them, hey, the invitation is for the ring, not the arena. You have to be in the ring. So, Sting laying down the gauntlet right there. Now, we go to the heart of the matter, which is what exactly is the problem with this contract signing? Well, we would see Sting, who just is patiently just being quiet and is just watching everything transpire between Aries and Roode. Roode would reveal how he has a particular bone to pick with a clause in the contract which clearly states that if Roode does not win at this Sunday's pay-per-view, he will not get another shot at the TNA World Heavyweight title so long as Austin Aries is the champion. And this is a bone that Robert Roode has a serious problem with. And for that reason, he is not going to sign the contract. And he would also take a jab at Sting, saying, Sting, this is all you're doing. You've had it in for me since day one. You've been trying to stick it to me since day one. You've always been trying to get a one-up on me. This is your way of getting that one-up. Well, I refuse to play this game. I'm beating you at your own game. I'm getting a one-up on you. I'm not signing this contract. Looks like you're not going to have a main event at Hardcore Justice this Sunday. Well, Austin Aries would take control of the matter and say to Robert Roode, hey, quit your bitching, quit your moaning, quit your crying. If it's a rematch that you're worried about, that you're so concerned with, then let's really make it easy. And how easy could it get, folks? We would see Austin Aries give a verbal agreement to Robert Roode that if Robert Roode were to win the TNA heavyweight title, then Austin Aries will not invoke his rematch clause. If Robert Roode loses, then that's it. It's over with. He doesn't get another shot at that title. So as long as Austin Aries is champion. So basically, folks, when it's all said and done, come this Sunday at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, one last time, Austin Aries, Robert Roode. This is it. Winner takes all. There will not be another rematch. The stakes couldn't be any higher. Robert Roode would agree to this. He would shake Sting's hand. He would reluctantly shake Austin Aries' hand, and then proceed to take a drink of water and spit it in the face of Austin Aries before quickly leaving the ring. So the stakes, it couldn't be any more higher right here, folks. This was definitely a really great segment right here. You know, the one thing that just really jumped out at me as I was watching Robert Roode just talk, he just reminds me more and more of a sane, more sophisticated, modernized 2012 version of a Ric Flair, the way he's just been operating as of late. But at the same time, the guy looks so damn naked without that TNA World Heavyweight title. And just to see the poor guy come out wearing his nice suits, he's just missing something. Can you just imagine that, people? If Robert Roode doesn't get the job done this Sunday, then what the heck could possibly be next for Robert Roode? Well, I don't like jumping ahead of the gun so fast, but maybe the television title? There's a thought. Let's move on now with the rest of the card for tonight, as next up we get to see what looks to be the final card for Sunday's pay-per-view, but keep in mind the card is subject to change. Now, this is what we have as of 10:40 p.m. right now, this is your TNA Hardcore Justice card for this Sunday. We have Hernandez and Chavo Guerrero taking on Kid Cash and Gunner. We have Kenny King taking on Zema Ion for the TNA X Division title. We have 3 Bound for Glory Series matches where 20 points will be up for grabs. First up, we have Mr. Anderson taking on RVD, the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, and Magnus in a Fatal 4-Way Falls Count Anywhere Bound for Glory Series match. And our next Fatal 4-Way match, we have Jeff Hardy taking on the Cowboy, James Storm taking on Bully Ray, taking on Robbie E. in a Fatal 4-Way Tables Bound for Glory Series match. And the next one that we have, I know I'm missing one, or is that it? No, there's only 2. I apologize there, folks. I could have sworn I heard 3. I don't know what I was thinking there. I could have sworn I heard 3 there. But in any case, it's all good. And, of course, we have Madison Rayne taking on, who is that? I'm live, and I just got a brain fart. You know how long I've been doing this? I've been doing this for 6 months, and I finally get a brain fart. Live at its finest. Can you believe it? Madison Rayne versus Miss Tessmacher for the TNA Knockouts title. Co-producer Tammy is just looking at me like, this is where you're supposed to give me cue cards for whenever I get senile like this. That's what's supposed to happen. You slide me a note. You say, this is who's supposed to be facing, so I don't have a brain fart live on the air. You're shaking your head saying, no, brain fart is fine. Go ahead. All right, I'll remember that. I'll remember that next time. Thank you. And our 5th match, we have Robert Roode taking on Austin Aries for the TNA World Heavyweight title. So it's going to be a pretty good match. And you know what, folks? I did remember it right. There are going to be 3 Bound for Glory series matches. Get this. The third one is actually AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe in a ladder match. So let me just go down that card again because it sounded kind of sloppy there, okay? Take 2, action. Okay, so this is what's going to be going down at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. We got Hernandez and Chavo Guerrero taking on Kid Cash and Gunner. Second match, we got Kenny King taking on Zema Ion for the TNA X Division title. Third match, we got Mr. Anderson taking on RVD, taking on the Pope, taking on Magnus in a Fatal 4-Way Falls Count Anywhere match. We have Jeff Hardy taking on James Storm, taking on Bully Ray, taking on Robbie E in a Fatal 4-Way Tables match. And we have another Fatal 4-Way which sees AJ Styles taking on Kurt Angle, taking on Christopher Daniels, taking on Samoa Joe in a ladder match. And, of course, our main event of the evening, we will see Robert Roode take on Austin Aries for the TNA World Heavyweight title. And at this point, this is where I stick my tongue out at co-producer Tammy and say, moving right along now, folks. 5th match of the evening tonight, we saw Bully Ray take on the Cowboy, James Storm. And what was probably a twist right here, I was watching this match, was really loving it, but I thought the writing was on the wall. I was under the impression James Storm was going to pick up a win here, but that was not the case, folks. We would see Bully Ray pick up the win. Now, that's probably a shocker to some of you guys. But here's what was the next shocker, as we would see Impact Wrestling go off the air. Remember what I said at the top of the hour? Impact Wrestling would come on with Bully Ray kicking it off, and Impact Wrestling would end with Bully Ray. Now, the Aces and Eights, they pop up on another video package that aired on the Titantron, and Aces and Eights, they said to Bully Ray that he is the next one to be dealt the dead man's hand, and that they will see him this Sunday at the pay-per-view, which left Bully Ray standing there in the ring saying, why are they coming for me? Very interesting development right here. Now, I don't want to really go too much in details about this right now because I think that it would be a perfect thing to pick up on when we come back from commercial break, because we have some Bully Ray news for you guys. And I think what had happened tonight just fits so perfectly with what is going on with Bully Ray behind the scenes. I think what happened tonight is a possible good way to tie up some loose ends, if you will. Just want to tease you guys a little bit. We'll definitely pick it up right after we take our commercial break. But overall, damn good episode of Impact Wrestling. Very strong. I love how they kept bringing up Sunday's pay-per-view. I loved how they gave that respected little plug to let you know what matches you could expect at the pay-per-view to try to convince you to come up out of your pocket and pay that $39.99 for this pay-per-view. Definitely love the execution. Very strong Impact Wrestling going in. I think one of the main highlights for tonight was definitely, in my book, the Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles. I mean, it's always good when those two guys lock it up. I also like the Knockouts match. That one was pretty good as well. Those were my two favorite highlights for tonight if I were to single out two matches. Overall, I would definitely have to give Impact Wrestling an 8 out of 10 for this week. If there was any areas that was a little bit weak that they could have did without, or maybe they kind of could have tweaked a little bit, I definitely would have went with that tag match where we had saw Kazarian and Daniels defeat Garrett Bischoff and Devon. I just kind of felt that that match really should not have happened, especially with Devon holding the television title. That just really left a bitter taste in my mouth. It should have played out the way I had suggested earlier. That would have just made more sense. Put that TV title on the line. Maybe he could have kept it by defending it. You know, it just really would have made more sense to me. But that's going to do it. Definitely a 8 out of 10. I stand by that. Let's go on ahead right now and let's take a brief commercial break. And then when we come right back, we're going to go into TNA Wrestling-related news. And, of course, we'll pick up with how we ended it on Bully Ray. And I'll let you know why I think this was a brilliant move on TNA's part with having the aces and eights eyeballing Bully Ray this Sunday. So we'll go ahead. We'll take a commercial break. Come right back. We'll jump right into it. So hang tight, folks. You're listening to the Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown Radio. We'll be right back, folks. Hang tight.
Tired of those wrestling websites that give you redirects, spyware, weird pop-ups? How about those misleading headlines? Instead of hitting the keyboard in frustration, why not visit InfinityOneProductions.com? Infinity One is the source for wrestling-related news and so much more without all the hassle. Visit InfinityOneProductions.com. Your keyboard will thank you.
Hey guys, Lee Sanders here with the RCWR Show, and I'd like to take this time out to tell you about one or two quick apps that I think you should check out when you get a free moment. First app I'd like to recommend to you is the app from Stitcher. Now, Stitcher allows you to be able to play all our episodes of the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown on your portable devices, such as an Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, you name it, it'll be able to play it. So definitely highly recommend that you check that out. It's available for free in the App Store. Stitcher, new and smart way to play radio. Also, another cool app that I'd like to recommend to you all is a new app that came out not too long ago from Apple. That's right, Apple has recently come out with a free podcast app. Now, this app is really cool, folks, because after we are done doing our shows, all you have to do is just subscribe to our episodes. And you can do this by downloading this new free podcast app. All you have to do, visit the App Store on your iPhone or iPad and just search podcast. Once the app is downloaded, you can then type in the name of our shows, the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown, and you'll be able to subscribe. It's that easy. So you have 2 cool free apps that you can check out and take all our episodes with you on the go. So get to it already.
All right, and we're back, folks. This is the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio on August 9th, 2012. For those of you that had experienced that brain fart in our last segment, I humbly apologize. It happens, folks. It happens. It's live. It happens. Anything can happen. That's the beautiful part I love about being live. Anything can happen. So we'll try to see if we can stay on that smooth cruise from here on out. Programming note for you guys, the weekend edition of the RCWR show will be back in 3 weeks. I know. Boo, I loved it. Bring it back. Boo. Okay, but just feel me for a second. It's coming back in 3 weeks. So in the meantime, in its place, we got to cover 2 pay-per-views that's going to be coming up, right? We got the TNA Hardcore Justice pay-per-view happening this weekend. And then the next weekend, we got the 25th anniversary of SummerSlam, as they're going to be bringing us the SummerSlam pay-per-view live from Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. So no RCWR weekend edition. In its place will be the RCWR show Call That Match special. So this Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, you'll be able to check out a new Call That Match special where it's that time, once again, it's time for me to dust off my thinking cap as a writer and as a booker, and I'm going to try to determine who will win at Sunday's Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. And folks, in case you haven't been keeping track, I am coming fresh off of a undefeated streak with the WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view, as I called every single thing right down the middle. So can I keep that streak going? Well, find out this Saturday, folks, at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And, hey, if you want to share your predictions on who you think will win at Sunday's pay-per-view, feel free to send us a video reply. Now, you can do this via Tout, and you can also do it on YouTube. We're up on Tout. Look us up. We're at the RCWR show. And here's the really cool part about all this. For your video replies that you send to us, we will make it be our business to incorporate them into the RCWR show remixed version of our Call That Match special covering the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view when we get ready to upload it on YouTube. So really cool way for you to be a part of that show. Have all your friends check it out. Really cool. So get started on your predictions. You have until this Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific to turn in your video predictions. So good luck to you. Make them good. Who knows? Maybe we might come to you more often if we like your picks and you come off sounding pretty good on your video. Of course, this is all leading into our coverage of the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, as we'll be, no doubt, interacting with you, the TNA Wrestling fans, throughout the night as the pay-per-view will be on. Feel free to hit us up. We will be at Infinity One Prod up on Twitter. We'll also be up on Facebook. We'll be interacting with you all throughout the night during the pay-per-view. It all leads up to the RCWR post-show at 11 p.m. Eastern, where I'll be covering the fallout of the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view and getting fan reaction. So it's going to be a jam-packed, busy weekend. So do hang tight for all that. Definitely going to be pretty fun.
So guys, I was talking about Claire Lynch earlier, and I had came across some pretty interesting stuff about her a couple of days ago that I just thought I'd share with you all, as I had came across this person on Facebook that had took the liberty of creating a Claire Lynch page. Now, this page is created by someone who is just a fan of the character Claire Lynch. I know, right? That's pretty weird to wrap your brain around. That's something you would think is a crock of bull. Maybe it's actually her that has made a page for herself, or a family member, close friend, who knows, but it is what it is. And surprisingly, this page really hasn't been catching on like that. Now, last we checked, this page only has about 50 likes so far, so it's really under the radar here. There's no other wrestling website that is even talking about this right now, so we're actually one of the first to be talking about this. So maybe with our help, this page can become more popular. Now, first off, we definitely need to let you guys know that, of course, Claire Lynch is specifically a TNA character themselves. Now, when you try to look her up in a Google search, you all will happen to find that you all will run into a country singer of the same name. Now, however, if you put in TNA in front of Claire Lynch, well, then a lot of stuff will pop up. Now, it turns out, folks, her real name is Julia Riley. And of course, as we all know, she's an actress. What you don't know is the steps that she and TNA has taken to keep her private life private. Now, she used to have a YouTube account where all her videos were accessible. Well, they are now all on private status. She did used to have her own website. That has been removed, all in the name of making sure that we know little about who she really is in real life as much as possible, as it could damage her character, her TV character, that is. So they don't really want any of her past to be revealed in this storyline. Now, for those of you that might be familiar with the American Idol series on Fox, you all know that they kind of pull the same page, and making sure that the contestants on the show, they don't have their own personal websites floating around. If they do, that they're temporarily disabled, at least until the conclusion of Idol. So you can respect the reason why they decided to go the route that they did with Julia. Now, some of the other things that she has done is she actually did a commercial for Cooking Light with top stainless steel cookware. That's right. And she was, I've seen the video, she's pushing blonde hair in this video. I thought it was freaking hilarious. I was really loving it. Something else that you'll be able to see on this page, you'll see that she has a profile at Voice123 as a contact, as she does voiceover work. Apparently, not sure if she's doing it currently, or maybe if the gig might be paused, but yeah, she does voiceover work, so who to figure. And something else that you'll find on this page, something that has been getting a lot of downplay, is actually AJ Styles coming to the defense of this Claire Lynch storyline. Now, this is what he would have to say, and this is a direct quote. "This is a television show. This is entertainment. I have to trust what they've pitched to me and hope that it turns out to be something that people hate or love. In fact, it doesn't matter as long as they are watching. People can say, 'I hate it. You are sponsoring a drug addict. That's so stupid.' Well, you are watching. Whether you hate it or love the storyline, You saw some great wrestling. Now, I kind of agree with what AJ is saying, but at the same time, I would suspect that as long as AJ has been in the business, that he has enough stroke to sit up and say, look, I think this storyline just needs to be nixed altogether. I just think this is a bad idea. We really shouldn't be going in this direction. I would think that he has enough pull in the company this long, folks, to be able to cry bullshit when he sees bullshit. So rather than just be more concerned with what's he going to be able to do for that week to be able to get camera time, I don't really think it should be all about that. I'm all for creating great television. I'm all for creating great angles. I'm all for creating whatever storyline. But man, if you're gonna do a storyline like this, there could have at least been more of a thought and recruit process to make sure that you have the right person portraying this actress that you want to be sitting up doing this whole scandal of AJ being the baby daddy. I just felt they could have taken a little bit more time executing this, but it is what it is. We got to deal with it, whether we like it or not. And as I am quick to always say, if there is a particular wrestler or a particular segment that you don't like, let your voices be heard. Flip the channel. They pay attention to the ratings. Can't stress it enough, folks. You see Claire Lynch, flip the channel. But I just thought I'd share that with you guys with regards to Claire Lynch. I thought that this page on Facebook is really something pretty cool. You can find it at facebook.com/pages/Claire Lynch-TNA. So that's one way you can find it. Or if you want to try to make it be a little bit quicker and easier for you, just do a Google search and type in Claire Lynch TNA Facebook page, and you should be able to come across it. You'll know it when you see it. Like I said, they just have 50 likes on their page, just a little bit over 50 likes. About 27 people are talking about it right now. Give it a browse. You'll really like what you see on there.
So let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about how Impact Wrestling ended with Bully Ray. And I also told you how this was a brilliant move on the part of TNA. And here's why it's a brilliant move on TNA's part. For those of you that may have not heard, Bully Ray's TNA contract is going to be up in 3 weeks. And right now the negotiations are said to be very intense. And it looks like right now they are at a little bit of a stalemate. Now, Bully Ray would go to Twitter and he would say to his fans, and I quote, "Shakespeare time, kids, to stay or not to stay? That is the question. Let's hear your opinion. Hashtag Bully Nation." Now, a little bit later on, Bully Ray would follow this up with, and I quote, "Wow, hell of a response. Looks 50-50. Let the boss lady know how you feel. Light up her hashtag Twitter machine like a flaming table. Hashtag Bully Nation." Now, we know some people, they have been speaking out on Bully Ray. A lot of people, they feel that it doesn't matter how much weight he loses, how big his arms might get, how good his calves might look. A lot of people feel like he will never be a TNA World Heavyweight Champion, that he just really comes off having this big ego. There's just no way that he's going to be able to even come close to the popularity that he has right now in TNA if he were to try to go back to the WWE. I can kind of see where a lot of people are coming from. I think, honestly, if I were to really look into this, I think Bully Ray should just go on ahead and he should just finish out in TNA unless WWE were to sit up and offer him some type of a really cool backstage creative role. I just don't really see what would the point be in going back to WWE just to be putting over younger people. At least here in TNA, he has that spotlight. He has those 15 minutes to really put on a good show. And a lot of people, they can say what they want about Bully Ray, but I think we all could definitely be in agreement. For a guy that's in his 40s, this is probably his best run to date as a singles wrestler. I mean, when you just compare his days to being in Team 3D, just really look back on it all. I mean, the man's been on a roll. There's no denying that, you know, and if you were to deny that, I don't know what to tell you. I think something's wrong with you. I think you're blind if you don't recognize that Bully Ray has been having some of his best years of wrestling as an in-ring performer, as a in-ring character. He's had some of his best years since being in the organization, since really taking this whole Bully Ray persona as seriously as he's taking it. I just love how he's just continuing to push that envelope every single time. I think Bully Ray should definitely stay in TNA. Now, it's brilliant how Aces and Nates said at the end of tonight's Impact Wrestling that they're going to see Bully Ray this Sunday. See, look at the seeds that have been planted, folks. If the contract negotiations do not go well with Bully Ray, then you know what? This is how you eliminate Bully Ray, and I think this might possibly happen at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. Now, I'm just giving you a little bit of a taste of what you can expect at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. I'm giving you an early call that match prediction. I would not be surprised if the Aces and Eights beat down Bully Ray to the point where Bully Ray is taken off TV for a few weeks so that TNA management can renegotiate a new contract deal. Now, if the negotiations end up not going right, then consider the last time we see Bully Ray have that serious beatdown at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, and that's going to be it. That's going to be his send-off. I could not think of anything better right now than to just have him get that beatdown while they work out the negotiations. It just makes perfect sense. Why would you have him sit up and go past the pay-per-view this Sunday to make a few more TV appearances, and then it's just kind of left out there in the open? They need to do this the same way that they had the main event Mafia beat down Christian Cage when his contract negotiations weren't going too well, and they took him out and they were trying to negotiate a new deal. Didn't work out well, so it got left on the cliffhanger of Christian Cage really just getting his ass handed to him by main event Mafia. Same thing needs to happen with Bully Ray right here. It would just be a smart move, I feel. I would honestly be shocked to see him on Impact Wrestling the very next week. I wouldn't be surprised to hear him do live shows, go on tour within the next few weeks, but to see him back on television, Impact Television, that just kind of really wouldn't make a little bit of sense to me right there. And in other wrestling-related news, we got Shelton Benjamin, who comments about whether or not he's possibly going to be joining TNA, as apparently a lot of buzz has been around this past couple of weeks. I guess a lot of people have been asking him, hey, is it true? Are you possibly going to go to TNA? Well, Shelton Benjamin would send out a tweet on Twitter saying, so many keep asking. I have no plans to go to TNA. Not saying never, but no time soon. Don't take that as a knock against TNA. Just thought I'd throw it because people like to create BS out of a simple answer to a question. So there you go. There's those damn dirt sheets. They love having their way of twisting certain words and really just making something out to be a case of nothing. And in other TNA-related news, folks, we had Miss Tessmacher, who recently had a conference call with TNA, actually. TNA, they did a conference call Whitmore Tessmacher earlier in the week to promote this Sunday's pay-per-view. And of a number of the topics that she covered, she talked about her critics not really feeling her as a champion. And this is what she had to say with regards to that. She said that she's tried hard to prove every night that she's not a fluke and is deserving. Well, you are deserving, but you still got to work on that talkability, my dear. You got to have the whole package right there. Otherwise, you're going to continue to be kind of considered to be a fluke. You're going to kind of continue to be somebody that's not really deserving of that title. I think Gail Kim says it best. It needs to be about class, not ass. Gail Kim, you just got to love that Gail Kim. Speaking of Gail Kim, you know, Eric Bischoff is said to be very high on her right now, really loves her work. That would not surprise me one bit if we were to see a scenario where Gail Kim in the next 60, 90 days could possibly get back that TNA Knockouts title. We got some Jeff Hardy news for you, even though he's been a little bit quiet on Impact Television. Turns out he's going to be getting a new DVD that's going to be produced by TNA Wrestling. It's said to be released sometime in October. Now, this will be the company's third time doing a DVD on Jeff Hardy. Can't wait to see how they're going to top what they did with the last two. Very curious to see how they package this together. I think that with Austin Aries being so hot right now, if anything, there should be a TNA DVD on him. I mean, what a fantastic story that guy has. I mean, he was the champion. He's a champion now, just the way that he had came into TNA last year. He's only been with the company for just a little bit over a year. He's already the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I think that's a really freaking great story in itself right there. But yeah, more on that later, folks. And in other TNA Wrestling-related news we got for you guys, we definitely want to mention how TNA Wrestling had did ratings-wise for last week's show. For those of you that might have missed it, we definitely got your hookup. You know how we do it over here. And let's pull it up for you guys right now. Bear with me 1 second here. And for those of you that want to make sure that you all check out the very latest in wrestling-related news, be sure to check out our website over at InfinityOneProductions.com. Once again, that's InfinityOneProductions.com. So we got the ratings for you guys for last week's Impact Wrestling, which did pretty good as it had managed to pull in a 1.01 cable rating with 1.4 million viewers. Now, this is just slightly down from the July 26th episode that managed to pull in a 1.09 rating with 1.578 million viewers. So, not really too bad right there. They're still staying in that 1 point mark. And like I said a few weeks ago, if they can just manage to stay above that, they really won't have any problems. And hey, in case you guys haven't heard, Spike TV has announced that they have extended Impact Live through September. That's right. Impact Wrestling will remain live all the way through until September. So really great news right there. Of course, they will remain at their same time slot that they have currently. So really great news for TNA right there. Looks like slowly but surely they are really starting to see good things happen. It's really been starting to look like it was a smart move for them to go live and get that new time slot that they have. Now, of course, we can't cover TNA Wrestling news without talking about the one and only who wants a mustache ride, Mr. Joey Ryan. Of course, we got to talk about our good boy, Joey Ryan, who apparently had released a very long, lengthy letter, which he posted up on his Facebook page, and it has just been reshared over and over again. Now, we'll definitely make sure that we have it be available later tonight on our website. But if you go to our page at Infinity One Productions on Facebook, you can actually read the letter. We got the link there for you guys. Very great letter right here. We definitely want to read it for you guys. Let's go ahead and let's jump right into it here. To whom it may concern, you may be asking yourself, who are these 87 percenters and what exactly do they represent? The 87 percenters are the fans that are tired of being told what they should like and who should they cheer for. The 87 percenters are the wrestling fans that hope for change in the wrestling business. The 87 percenters are the wrestling fans who are frustrated with being ignored. We, the 87 percenters, are taking a stand here and now. We will no longer tolerate this injustice in professional wrestling. On May 24th, Joey Ryan made an appearance on Impact Wrestling television program in a gut check challenge. After an impressive showing, which included becoming a worldwide trend on Twitter. And I lost my place right there. I don't have my glasses tonight. Give me a second here, folks. I hate when that happens. Anything is live. It happens. I'm getting old. This is probably the worst show ever. Co-producer Tammy, I blame you for this. Next time, font size 20. All right. And Trend Worldwide Twitter. Impact Wrestling's gut check then told their audience that their opinions matter and to let their voices be heard and promoted on a poll on their website and on their Twitter accounts at Impact Wrestling and at TNA Gut Check. After 7 days of pushing the poll to their entire fan base, the results were 87% in favor of Joey Ryan getting a contract with the company. However, Bruce Pritchard, Al Snow, and Taz had a different agenda to fulfill. On the May 31st edition of Impact Wrestling, the 87 percenters tuned in to see the man that they all enjoyed just 1 week earlier. The fans once again made Joey Ryan a worldwide trend on Twitter and also provided Impact Wrestling with its highest rated segment of the night. TNA's gut check judges then proceeded to forsake the fans' opinions and deny Joey Ryan of an Impact Wrestling contract, leaving the TNA faithful to question why gut check even asked for their opinions in the first place. Do the fans really matter? Does wrestling really matter? Thus, the 87 percenters and the 87 percenters movement was born. We are the 87%. We are intelligent wrestling fans. We do not need a company or a promotion to look down on us. We do not need higher-ups to shove who they like down our throats and tell us that we should like them as well. Your agenda does not match ours, and we are your consumers, and the consumer is always right. It is our money that you are interested in. We should be dictating business to you, and you should be catering to us. On June 5th, Joey Ryan launched an investigation into Impact Wrestling's gut check and its conspiracy against him and against its own fan base when the internet series Joey Ryan Has a Camera and a YouTube Account debuted on Joey Ryan's YouTube channel. This series' main purpose was to give the fans a voice in which they did not previously have through social media and in a medium that the powers that be would no doubt be the monitoring and paying attention to. The series' main goal was to get Impact Wrestling's gut check to acknowledge their fan base's concerns and answer questions. The purpose, this proposal neglect was alarming to us. The 87 percenters just wanted them to prove that fans matter. You pretty much get the gist of it. There's a lot more to that, but I do not want it sounding like it's a Sunday sermon. So do yourself a favor if you like that first part of what you heard. Go check it out. It's a really great read. I read it once before. I thought it was really awesome. I kept retweeting it to a bunch of people, resharing it. Definitely give it a read. It's something that's pretty cool. Should be very interesting to see what's going to happen come Hardcore Justice. I would not be surprised if maybe Joey Ryan might make another appearance. Remember what I said a couple of weeks ago, folks? It seems like every single 2 weeks we see Joey Ryan make a little cameo appearance. It's about that time again, folks. So let's see what will happen this time around. That's pretty much going to do it for TNA Wrestling-related news. Let's go on ahead and let's open up the phone lines right now. We got a few minutes to spare for you guys before we head off the air for tonight. You can call us right now if you'd like. Go ahead, kick back, smile, and dial, and hit us up. 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. Let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it. We got a caller from the 973 area code. As we always tell you guys that call into the show, and we do love you guys for calling in, let us know your name. Let us know where you're calling from. Caller from the 973 area code. You're live on the air, my friend. Say hello.
What's up? Don from New York.
Hey, Don. What's up, bro?
Doing good. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Ready for this Hardcore Justice pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. That would be a good payoff. I like the fact that TNA's got some other things going on that this WWE angle. I mean, everything revolves around the pay-per-view. I mean, pretty much every storyline, every event, you know, it's all tied into. At least they have the Bound for Glory thing. You know, the point system's a little confusing. I'd like to see more like you know, it's more like, to me, like the Bound for Glory is more like a Major League Baseball season. I'd like to see more like an NFL playoff, you know, like every match matters. You know, that's what makes football exciting in the playoffs. You know, it's elimination, one and done, you know what I'm saying? Is the Bound for Glory a little too lengthy for you?
I think so, because, I mean, we got the Bound for Glory pay-per-view itself not happening for like 3-4 months, and you're just trying to keep track of all these damn points. You know, I agree. You know, forget about the points. Just have it be kind of like a NFL playoff type of thing. You know, this person advanced. That just makes more sense. Let somebody be a wild card.
Yep. Who do you think is going to take the Knockouts title? You think Tessmacher is going to retain it? Or,
I'm jumping ahead, but if I were to guess, I'm really thinking that Tessmacher's going to retain somehow. I mean, you would think maybe it should go in Madison Rain's favor.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it would make more sense to have. And folks, I'm giving you another early prediction here. You'll hear the full card this Saturday. But the way I'm looking at it right now, it makes more sense for Madison Rain to lose. That way she could continue that little storyline with Earl Hebner. And you know, I would love to see a backstage segment immediately after that on the next week's Impact Wrestling where she's just yelling at Earl and saying, you know, this isn't how it was supposed to play. You were supposed to have my bag. You know, kind of put some layers to that little storyline I'd like to see happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the the tail end of having to take her punishment.
What was your take on what had went down with Aces and Eights and Bully Ray? Were you a little bit surprised at that?
I don't know. I thought Mr. Anderson was somehow involved. What happened there? I must have missed that segment.
Oh, well, at the end there, after Bully Ray had picked up the win, because he defeated James Storm, picked up 7 points, Aces and Eights, they appeared on the Titantron, and they said to him, Bully Ray, we're going to see you this Sunday at the pay-per-view.
You think Mr. Anderson's involved with that?
No.
Because they dropped when they first came on tonight, they dropped the a-hole. He's like, hey, a-holes, pay attention. Remember when they cut to them at first in the opening?
Yeah, I remember.
And that's why I thought, Mr. Anderson. Anyway.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. What was your overall takeaway for tonight's show? How'd you like Impact Wrestling?
Loved it, man. So it's 1,000 times better than what the WWE product's being put out there right now.
Those bold words right there. Don, thank you as always, man. We appreciate you calling into the show. Let's keep it moving because we only got a few minutes left. I definitely want to go give you guys a quick rundown on what y'all can expect for this weekend for those of you that might have missed it. Let's go to our good friend Dave in the Michigan area. Dave, you're live on the air, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, all right, bro. How you been?
I'm not too bad. I think TNA has kind of dropped the ball because just think if Joey Ryan isn't signed, just think if he would have been at Impact, giving that pipe bomb, so to speak, CM Punk moment of that letter live on Impact. Just think how much better that would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been huge. I think that would have been basically, that's what I was taking away from hearing you read that. I was like, oh, that kind of reminds me of what CM Punk was basically saying last summer.
Yeah. It was a damn good letter. It was a damn good letter. I agree 100%.
Think how much better it would have been, though.
Yeah.
It would have been live, like tonight, if anything, on Impact.
Yeah.
And I agree with you about the Garrett thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so sick of that guy on my TV. I mean, they could have used Zima Ion and Kenny King somehow tonight, and they didn't even get used tonight, which they should have, or the TV title even.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, when I seen that Aces and Eights promo, I kept looking at the guy's eyes. I kept thinking, like, what if that's Scott Steiner? He's been off of Twitter, basically, for a while, keeping quiet. I mean, he hasn't really said too much that I've seen lately about TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it's not. I mean, to me, that'd be terrible. But in that direction. But I think, I don't really like to guess on who it's going to be. I just loving how it's unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
And with us hearing about what WWE's supposed to have, now, like 4 shows that are going to be on TV? When will TNA get, like, a second show?
You know, I heard about that. Yeah, for you folks that might have not heard, apparently WWE, they're doing a new kids show that's aimed specifically for kids. It's going to be a 30-minute show or something like that where they're just going to show one match and they're going to hype up this whole don't be a bully, be a star, nice little thing that they're doing right there. It's cute. Don't get me wrong. TNA, I mean, they're on the right track, Dave. I think, what needs to happen right now, like we were saying a couple of weeks back, with what they were doing with that Impact Rewind, I mean, I definitely thought they was on to something with that. They already got Explosion added into their lineup. Most of us
don't get that anyway.
What's that?
I said most of us don't get that. I would love to get that Explosion on Monday or Tuesday or Saturday nights or something.
Yeah. I mean, that really...
I don't get it anyway.
It kind of brings up an interesting question, though, because it's like, why sit up and make an entirely new show when Explosion was working for you? Why not try to see if that could have got some type of a Spike TV deal? So, that's actually
on the weekend
in demand.
Or something like that, you
yeah.
know?
And isn't TNA Asylum still floating around?
I don't know.
I heard
now,
something.
Will you watch that show?
What's that?
That new WE Saturday Slam, or whatever it's called?
You know what? I'll watch it just to review it. I mean, if it's something that, maybe I could sit up and have my little nephews check out or something like that, I'll give it an honest review. I know I personally would not be watching it, but when you really think about it, that's a lot of freaking WWE programming that they want to try to have that casual fan to watch, because you got Monday Night Raw, 3 hours. Then you got Superstars, that's about 45 minutes. You might as well say an hour. Then you got NXT, or whatever they're calling it now, FCW, that's an hour. SmackDown's 2 hours. Now you're doing a 30-minute show. Then you got the 30-minute pre-show for the weekend that they do a pay-per-view. Then you got a 2-hour pay-per-view. Frick, man, that's like a little bit over 15 hours of programming right there every single week. I mean, that's really cutting it.
Yeah, if you want to sit there and go online, most of these shows, at least in my area, NXT and Superstars are all online shows.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this the other day. Just think if they would have kept these 2 shows on TV in October with their new show, they would have a show on every day of the week.
Yeah. honestly, keep it simple. Keep it simple is all I can say, because that's just too much. And that's why you have that occasional WWE fan that'll sit up and say, "Who the heck is this guy?" "Oh, well, that's so and so. He came from FCW." "Well, what the hell is a FCW?" "Oh, that's the show."
Ring of Honor, a lot of that.
yeah. And I definitely agree with Philip Broom. So I gotta agree with Philip Broom. We gotta show him some love because he's in the chat room. He said too much wrestling on TV. No, Impact Wrestling, bro. They just need to keep it short and sweet, like they're doing right now. They got the Explosion, they got Impact Wrestling, they got the Backstage Pass in between, which is really starting to catch on.
Yeah, it's entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just made history when they had launched it on Twitter last week. So I mean, I definitely think they're on to something. That thing is going to catch on. I think before year's end, it's definitely going to be more popular for sure than that Impact Wrestling Rewind. You can rest assured on that. But just let them keep it short, sweet, and simple. What was your takeaway from Bully Ray getting that calling card, if you will, from Aces and Eights?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I want to mention something about that, too. I could see the thing with his new contract situation.
Mm-hmm.
They let him win tonight, say they let him win this Sunday, and say, okay, if you re-sign with us, we're going to give you a reign as a world champion. The WWE won't offer him that.
I see that.
So that would be
interesting question. That would be interesting, yeah.
I
but
think
is
he
he
does
deserving?
I mean, look what he's done for TNA.
But see, Dave, that brings up an interesting question, though. You give him a guaranteed title run, but the question now becomes, when do you take the belt off Austin Aries if you do that?
I think you could even do it at Hardcore Justice and do something after Bound for Glory. You give Bully Ray a run at the title, maybe even a face turn, and you have him beat Bobby Roode down the road for the title.
Bully Ray as a face?
They could do it. I mean, he's already getting somewhat, if you want to call it, crowd pops at the Impact Zone, but he's over as a heel right now, and when you're really over as a heel, that's usually you can turn. Look what they did to Austin Aries. They turned him face quick.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough call. Thank you for that call, Dave. I don't know. I gotta sit on that one. I think you might have gave me something to write this weekend leading up into the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. I think that might be an interesting poll right there. I mean, that puts a very interesting question out there. Do you try to keep Bully Ray with TNA by offering him a world championship run? Do you give him a title run? Yeah, he's been putting a lot of effort into it. He's been working hard. He's been going in, night out. The guy has been losing to a ton of people he had no business losing to, but he still comes out looking good. Should he be rewarded for all that? And, Dave, you bring up a good point, something that WWE would never do. Those of us that have been following Bully Ray that long, let's not forget about that infamous program that he had with that Bully Ray had with Triple H. And it looked as if Bully Ray was possibly going to be owning Triple H. For all of you that not quite sure what I'm talking about, just Google in Bully Ray Triple H promo. It was probably some of his best work way back then. It's kind of funny when you think about it now, because I was actually refreshing my memory about that promo that he had with Triple H just the other day, and you could actually kind of see a little bit of seeds of Bully Ray way back then. So very interesting. I'm definitely going to be paying attention to how this contract signing goes. I think that's going to do it. I think we had a pretty good show, and let's see. Wait a minute, we got to show some love in the chat room one more time. All right, Phillips says Bully Ray deserves it. He's worked his ass off. He deserves it. I think we might put a poll out, co-producer Tammy. I think we should put a poll out asking fans if Bully Ray should get a championship run in TNA. I think we'll definitely go on ahead and we'll do that for you guys. Definitely want to hear what you all have to say, and we'll share the results on Sunday's RCWR post show. I think that's going to do it. I think those of you that had tuned in to tonight's show, awesome interaction with you guys as always. Dave, appreciate it. Don from New York, appreciate the love. Philip Broom, definitely appreciate you there, man. And also shout out to those of you that are also in the chat room as well. Shout out to those of you that are going to be checking this out on the downloads, on YouTube, on Stitcher. A lot of love for you guys right there. Let's do this again. So we got the